Hello, guys. This is the first episode based on a topic for the podcast for the Self Improvement Project, and I think it's a rather apt one based on the specifics of what it means and what I'm hoping to get out of it. So, as discussed in the previous episode where I was kind of setting the scene and setting the tone for this podcast, I talk about wanting to give something more and give something beyond myself towards a project that means a lot to me, but the impact and ripple effect that I want that to have on others is just as important as well. And it's so important to be aligned and feel like you are very comfortable with that decision and what you're doing. So why this topic relates so well is that because it's almost not got an end goal. So this topic today that I want to chat to you guys about and discuss and share is called the infinite mindset. And it's something that I came across towards the start of 2020. It's a book by the author Simon Sinek, who, as you might be aware if you know me well, that I enjoy his work. And it's relatable to this project, but also it's very relevant for the time that we're living in just now. It's currently May. We're 2 months into lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's such an interesting time to question what we're doing, what we're working towards, what life means for a lot of us. And with the external factors that have impacted on our lives, it allows you to become more clear and specific with what you want, what you're working towards, what really matters to you. And it's a really relevant mindset to have in these times. So I'm very interested and intrigued to hear about people's experiences that they've had in relation to this. Now, to define what an infinite mindset is, let's compare finite and infinite, and thinking of finite as a game, a sports game with an end score, with an end time, and you win or you lose, and that's that. Infinite is with no finish line. It's no score, no winning, no losing, just continuing. Which, now life is obviously something that, has become more precious over the last few months. And this project is exactly that. There's no end line, there's no finish line, there's no achievement to be made out of this. This is just purely to do because I want to share all these ideas with people and improve everybody that listens to this and I come in contact with. So, with this infinite mindset, we are having to start to think about what it is that we are really working towards. You might frame it as a wee bit of a life purpose. Of course, there might be some goals that you want to achieve during your life that will help you get towards that purpose. However, you're going to fail at some of them. You're going to achieve at some of them. And when you win or you lose at these specific goals or tasks, you will feel downbeat or you will feel elated temporarily. And then you will go back to feeling probably about 7 out of 10. And this is where it's important to take a step back and think, what are we actually working towards? What is it that we want? And this is important to reflect upon just now during this time. With the way that the world's changing at the moment, we need to change. There's an element of reinventing yourself into something that you don't know what that is yet. the world is different right now, but we don't know what it's going to look like in a few months' time. You hear the obvious comments about everything going back to normal, or the good old days, but this isn't about that. Life going forward is always changing, regardless if there's a pandemic or not, and you're constantly having to reinvent yourself. Think of a time where you had to reinvent yourself for a particular job or a particular situation in your life, maybe health related, and you have to reinvent yourself all the time to continue to improve yourself and work towards what you want ultimately. So you need to think about, what are you changing to the way that you live your life? For example, are you needing to stop comparing yourself to everything that's around you that you see? We live in a very status orientated world, and it's hard to step back from that. What is it that you really want? And really embracing that. How are you going to go about this change to improve? Is it that you're going to improve your mindset in a sense of being more positive or being more stoic? Or is it a case of you are going to do more exercise and get fitter or stronger, or changing your diet, for example, reading more, reflecting more, all these sort of things, but thinking, why is this what I want? Why is this the life that I want? What's the ultimate purpose behind it? Because it's not an end goal. And it's important to also think about, from another perspective, that this is not just about surviving. This is about continuing to go on forever. This is how you want to live your life. So, what can you do that will help you get closer to how you want your life to be? Previously, I've talked to people about picturing your perfect day. And the more I think about it, the more I disagree with that sentiment. Everyone's perfect day is on holiday, having a cold alcoholic drink, whilst not having a worry in the world. But as life works, you can't have your perfect day every day. So, what do you want your normal day to be like? How do you want it to go from start to finish? And how can you change that? How can you control that to help with that? Personally, I used to be in a job where I would have to get up between 5:30 and 6 a.m. every day. And I decided to do something about that. And now I'm at a stage where I can get up at 8 a.m. every day. Albeit I still need an alarm, but that's a dangerous game to play regardless. So, just a wee example, but ultimately everything around it's got to work as well. Your career, your exercise, your relationships, your mindset, all these things need to align alongside that. So I want you to ask the question of, where are you going? What is it that you're going to do? What are you going to work towards with no finish line? And like I said before, this winning and achievement, it's all temporary. As inspiring as it is by watching a documentary or watching a video, it's all just temporary. You need to have something that you're working towards, regardless of if you fail or if you win, because you need to keep going. For me, it's all about making it as meaningful and fulfilling as possible. For any of you that have had a job where you feel empty and meaningless throughout the day, it is one of the hardest things to do mentally in your life. Especially if you start thinking about all the hours that you invest in that, but you've got to come out the other side and understand that it's just temporary. So what can you do to make your days more fulfilling and more meaningful, and towards what you want to ultimately work towards in your life? Now, don't get me wrong, this is tough if you've not taken time to think about it, if you can't see it, if you can't even imagine it, because it might not even exist. And that's important, where you've got to have faith in the sense of, what am I working towards, and is it possible? And I'm not going to get into all that airy-fairy nonsense in the sense of, believing in something and it will happen. But if you continue to believe that you'll get to towards where you want to be, you'll get as close as you can. So take that time to think about what you want. What does that normal day look like for you? And what does that involve each and every day? How does that make you feel? And ultimately, what is that thing that drives you? What's that thing that's going to drive you till the day you die? Regardless of the outcome, regardless of what happens, what is that thing that drives you? It might be something that you can do. Like I said, this example of the podcast is something for me. But there might be something external, a group, a club, that might be related to that. And you might join it, and it might inspire you to continue to work towards those things. So have a think, take time to reflect, write it down. Just take half an hour to sit down, do nothing, have a cup of tea, and just think. So that's all I want to talk to you guys about today. Again, for me, it's just about sharing these ideas so that you have a platform to then go and think about it even more. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I certainly have. And I'll chat to you all soon. Cheers.